Going on, everybody? Coming at you with a weekly recap. Wanted to go over my best week ever, $38,275. Just an incredible week. Gains that I quite frankly didn't really think were possible for me. But I was in the zone. I worked very hard. I was extremely focused all week, and I just traded a little above average, and just brought my A game. Really pushed myself to size up and really go for it, and this is the result. $38,000 in one single week. It's very incredible stuff. So I'm gonna go over just some of the major spots from the week. Kind of the post that I made on Twitter. I can go over the trades a bit more and go over that in detail. So go over this alt trade. Took 2,000 shares at 25.32. Which is it is the biggest capital investment that I have made in a very long time, maybe ever. That's $50,000 capital investment made. So biggest position I've ever taken, because it was a spot I was very confident in. I knew that I was in a safe spot and I could take that size without too much risk. So, alright. So alt has been extremely explosive lately, and I missed the front side for the most part, but I saw it pull back after this, ran to 34, and then it pulled back, and I was watching it for an afternoon entry for a bounce. So you can see that it kind of makes this horizontal. Working with somewhat of a wash on the volume. So I just noticed that breaking out of this downtrend here, and there's a few different ways you could look at it, but okay. So I took this right here. The box is where I entered it, taking some of these structures. So this is a descending triangle play. You saw my trade on XSPA from last week. It's actually the same formation, just a little different. Everything's a little different from each other, but just a descending volume with good structure, a couple confirmation zones to let you know that it's forming higher lows and that a trend change may be coming. And just given the fact that it was $34 a share and now it's at 25, well, that in itself is a pretty good thesis for a bounce. So now I didn't highlight all the trades on this day because I took it 25.33, sold it at 26.50 when it kind of failed to keep the trend going, and I didn't want to risk my profits because I was up a ton on it. So I did re-enter it a couple times on further developments, and I played it a few times in here, so worked out really nicely for me. And then after hours it had an offering and somebody panic sold for a huge discount, or I don't even know how that happened, but I saw it, the tape, and I saw the orders going through, so pretty sure that was real. Alright. maybe a little easier to see zoomed out how the chart washed, formed a bottom, and then confirmed for the trend change or a bounce. So I just played this upside. And I played it on the following morning. The reason why I played it is it just has very bullish structure. It was able to recover from the offering. It was able to hold a range. So you see the pre-market, it's in a pretty nice range, consolidating. And I noticed that, and I thought that if it broke out of this range, that I could see some pretty good upside. So this one's, it's a little harder to see because it kind of feels sloppy, but it's actually quite good. So let's see, I bought 1,000 shares at 27.77. So I just took this confirmation when I thought it was ready. Perhaps this was a tape read. I'm not sure, but I did like it and I did get involved, and pretty shortly after my entry I get the surge of volume that I was looking for, and I sell it at $30. So make 2,200 on that trade, and I most likely took some more entries on this. Don't show it, but I probably did, considering I had my best day ever, which was a $14,600 day. Pretty crazy, but I know I think I made on the day, I made like 5,000 something on alt. And then just scooping up trades like this on solo. Let's see if I can go over this solo chart. Playing a lot of the same tickers, same setups, just rinse and repeat, you know, that's kind of how it is. Just look for what tickers have the best volatility, and then just play your patterns, your setups that you like. Making sure I'm on the right day. Alright, so this is, again, it's just a trend change. See, it forms a nice double bottom base, the consolidation. The price action is on the upper part of the triangle. Nice double base. Nice descending volume. And what I see is it breaks out of the triangle. I notice that it breaks out of the triangle. I see that it's holding the breakout. You can see it dips, but it holds. And then it makes a micro triangle. So this is the TA structure that I played. Once I saw it hold, I bought the confirmation out of the micro triangle for continuation for bounce, and it worked quite nicely. So I didn't know that this would for sure have upside. I never know. You know, that's the thing. You have to predict, right? You predict spots that you feel, have good upside. And if you can find good structure suggests good upside. And, if I'm wrong, well, I'll just cut it. If this doesn't surge and get slow or weird, or I just don't like it, well, I'll just cut it. It's not a problem. But I just take the trades over and over, and if I'm on the right track, I'll get a surge like this, and I lock in my profits. This, I think it was a $1,500 trade on Solo, 5,000 shares, 351, sold it at 380. So in a hot market, when there's so many plays all over the place, and all day, if you're just looking around and you see good structure, take a trade, take another trade, and another. All of a sudden, you might have 5 trades like this on the day, and all of a sudden you're up over 5,000 just locking in profits on structures like this. I mean, that's my trading style anyways, just quick trades on favorable structures. Rinse and repeat. Yeah, that's just crazy. $14,600 in a day. Wow, that's just, I really didn't see that coming this week. Crazy. Tweet, my trading approach isn't how am I going to make money today, it's how can I avoid a red day. I just go with the flow, play what feels natural to me, and it's alright if I don't keep banking every day. Number one priority will always be avoiding uncontrolled losses at all costs. So I guess what I'm trying to say with this tweet is, like, you can relax and you can just watch. And you don't have to make money. You're not missing out on anything if you don't make money. You can just relax. I know that you're gonna have red trades. The point of this post wasn't saying, like, trade differently so you never take red trades. It's not what I was saying. I was saying just go with the flow, follow your process, do what feels right, but avoid the uncontrolled losses, which is emotional trading, fear of missing out. Just get rid of that mindset. There's no room for it. If you want to be successful, there's no room for that mindset. You gotta just be relaxed and totally okay with not making a single dime in the day. Now, of course, I do usually make money, but I'm successful because I don't think about it. I don't care if I make money in the day. I just trade my best and the money follows, right? So that's all I really meant by that post. Just gotta relax. I play balance play on alt. 1,000 shares at 23.22 out of 24.14. Accidentally put the second. Oh, you can't even see it. Accidentally put my exit circle at 25. I really sold it like right after I bought it, around here on the way down. Alright. And what you'll notice is, like I said before, when I find tickers that I really like, that are, have a lot of range and a lot of volume, I'll play them all week, especially if they're moving how I like them to move and I'm comfortable with them. I'll play them all week. So on this day, it went from 31.30 in pre-market all the way down to 23. So I was just thinking, wow, that's a big pullback and it's been washing all morning. What's going to happen when it breaks out of this downtrend? Well, it could bounce a couple dollars. So it's just a bounce setup. I mean, I'm very comfortable with this setup. At this point, I'm very comfortable with it. It used to be a lot harder for me, but it's just a pretty clear downtrend. And then what happens, it forms a base, right? But the thing with this base is it broke down under 23. But when it broke down under 23, it held the 2280s. And it recovered 23 without a problem, and that happened quite fast. You combine that with the fact that it's been washing for nearly 3 hours, and you have a perfect trend line that is now suddenly being tested. So it breaks out of the trend line, it holds for a solid 3 minutes. That's just a really great indication that it's time to take a shot at this. There's a lot of factors that are in my favor at this point. As far as taking a long, it just makes a lot of sense. I mean, this has pulled back a lot. If I was short on this, this is a great spot to start locking in some profits on a short position. If I'm watching this and I want to go long, well, it's a great discount, right? So you just have to use some logic here, and you'll start to see, well, it's a pretty clear buy. So I just, again, I just show trades like this. It's a quick 1,000, Just I bought it, sold it, quick 1,000. And that's how a lot of my trades look. I'm a high volume trader. I trade many times a day. Probably between 20 and 30 trades a day, I would estimate. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Talk about my reflection on poker. It's kind of how I got started with statistical games, was poker. I think poker gets a lot of hate from people that don't understand gambling. They just assume it's just more gambling, but poker definitely taught me a lot of life lessons as far as statistics and just how to think about certain things in a more logical way. It's just a great game, really. Poker's a great game. Can teach you a lot. But I just thought it was pretty crazy how in the last 3 months I've only had one red day, and I mean that's just unheard of in statistical games. It's just crazy. That doesn't happen. It's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to always win. Which is, it's trippy. It's trippy to me that I'm able to pull this off, and I just have a really solid system. Although what I will say about that is, yeah, I am consistent, but it's possible that if I had a higher variance approach to trading, where I would have more red days, but perhaps my green days would be bigger, perhaps that strategy would actually be more profitable than my current strategy, which is more focused about consistency. So it doesn't mean that it's a better system, it's just a system that I'm comfortable with right now. An easy example is like, okay, Jack Rue trades, right? He might not be as consistent as me, but he's obviously a better trader than me. He's obviously making way more money than me. So it doesn't really mean much. I mean, all I'm trying to say is I'm comfortable with my system, and I'm happy that I don't have red days that often, because red days make me uncomfortable. And I just like to feel comfortable and content on a day-to-day. And so that's why I've designed my system the way I've designed it. Because I don't want to be more stressed than I have to be. Alright, and then yeah, SNES was pretty cool. I actually saw this off of my special watch list. I call it reverse split onlys. Try to keep it like stocks that have had reverse splits in the past, or maybe, I don't know, SNES was one of those. It may have just been on like hot ticker scan. Anyways, sometimes I just scroll down and I look through some of the names that are at the top just to see what's up. And I pulled up SNES and I looked at this chart, and I was like, wow, this is just such a great chart. It's so washed out. It kind of had one small perk, and now it's holding a horizontal range. It made a higher low, and all of a sudden it's curling, and it had a first really nice green day. It held gains the day before. And I just looked at this and was like, wow, I have to put this on my watch list. This is just so good. So definitely just one of those things where you just pull up a random ticker and it just looks amazing. And I just stick it on the watch list. You can see it's a former runner. So yeah, this was just great. A great little find. I was actually watching it in the morning. In this area, I was looking for the 234 confirmation buy, but it couldn't do it, and it got weak and broke down. And at that point, you know, something gets weak and breaks down, and I just stopped watching it. But then later came back into my attention because it had this big surge, and I went, wow. Knew I was on the right track with that, but I missed it. However, I just kept watching it because you never know when something's going to form an afternoon entry. You know, this is just, it's range bound, you know, it's got some really nice horizontal range that it's holding. You got higher lows into kind of like this micro triangle into a horizontal high of day test. So I just bought this subtrend right here in anticipation of a new high of day breakout, just given the long-term chart setup, the fact that it's a former runner. And it worked, you know, I just got a really nice surge. I held it. I was trying to get maybe like 360s, but once this flag completely whiffed, I knew it was time just to lock in the profit, so I got out at 227, locked up a $1,200 win or so. That was really nice. There was, I mean, can't go over every single trade because, you know, I'd be over 100 trades. It's just too much, right? So, BOXL, crazy ticker. I can't go over all the tickers because there's been like 50 tickers lately. So there's just too much going on, but BOXL crazy one had a lot of nice setups. I don't even know what day I played it on. I think this day I made some money because I noticed the structure was wash. It was a wash structure. So the volumetric was clean. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, it just shouldn't be the case when you see an overextended ticker that's done. It doesn't make clean volumetric for the most part. So I instantly knew that something could be up with this, especially when it makes the structure double bottom into a trend change. I knew that this could squeeze, and sure enough it did. So I was just taking the confirmation entries and scalping it, and I missed this entry here, unfortunately. But I was still able to make some money on this. It's nice. It's nice. And then I should go over one red trade. I mean, I have tons of red trades. I have more red trades than I do green trades. So I only have a 43% win rate. Alright, so I'm going to show my biggest red trade on the week was PRCP. And the reason why is because a lot of these squeeze setups were working really well this week. Some tickers like EQ had it, and some other tickers, but essentially it just made an afternoon squeeze, and I thought that it could kind of rip again and break out over the 780 and go to 9 or 10, something like that. So essentially this is, I mean, I guess it was like a FOMO type buy. Looking at this structure, and I got a little ahead of myself, and I bought in at 660 with size, 3,000 shares. And then when it didn't go, I got, I didn't want to believe that it wasn't going to work, and so I didn't cut it in a timely manner, and it just started coming down, and then I ended up panic selling like at 630. So it's just a nice example of you chase something and then you don't accept the reality fast enough that this isn't going to flag and isn't going to surge, and you get stubborn, right? And so my stubbornness just led to a $900 loss in a minute. So this is an example of my loss. You know, this is, I take a play that I think it's gonna surge right away, it doesn't, and then I panic sell or whatever, and boom, $900 down the drain. I try to avoid spots like this. If you chase areas that have high volatility and aren't predictable, you can't really have a tight stop strat, because you'll just take giant losses like this over and over and over, which is why I try to always enter in safer price areas. So this was just a chase from me, because my strategy really just doesn't allow for chase entries like this. It just doesn't work. So $900 red trade right here. Wanted to show a red trade just by request. I thought, why not, you know? So there we go. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover for the weekly recap. Hopefully more good weeks to come. I'll just keep doing my thing. Keep trading safe. As safe as I can trade. I know, given the fact that I've been sizing up lately, with size comes more mistakes, potentially, so I need to keep myself in line, make sure that I don't get too comfortable, because I think that's the key when you're making a lot of money, is just keep telling yourself, hey, you know, you can't get too comfortable because anything can happen, and I'm not trying to ruin my progress. So let's just keep going into next week. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. You can like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you on the next video.